How do you manage a cattle herd numbering in the thousands? This is a question every rancher wants an answer to. Raising and managing a large herd of cattle is no easy task and is incredibly costly. To address this challenge, some cattle ranchers have come up with a bold yet highly effective solution: managing cattle from the air. Using helicopters to gather cattle has become a common practice at large-scale farms across Australia, a country with a total cattle population of 29.9 million. About 372 miles southwest of Darwin, Australia, during the morning rush, an Australian family gathers cattle by helicopter. Today's challenge is to coordinate around 1,500 cattle, which the helicopter will drive to the designated gathering point. Cattle herds in South Australia are substantial in scale. Ranchers there work year-round to gather roughly 81,000 cattle on their 1.3 million acre property. The feeling of piloting a helicopter while directing an immense herd of cattle is unlike anything else. It's a combination of technique and instinct. In the past, it might have taken 20 men to gather cattle at a muster yard, a process that could last up to 3 days. Now, one helicopter can complete the job in just half a day. Helicopter mustering has revolutionized Australia's beef industry, enabling it to keep up with massive global demand for cattle meat. There are over 28 million cattle raised across the US. In the American West, the majority of these cattle are free-range. Managing such large numbers of free-ranging cattle across thousands of acres of land is no simple task, as it is both time-consuming and labor-intensive. Traditional herding methods, like horseback riding, have lost much of their effectiveness. Farmers spend countless hours moving cattle between grazing areas, monitoring each animal and ensuring none stray or get injured. To address these challenges, American ranchers have begun using helicopters as a tool to manage free-range cattle. Over time, they've seen numerous benefits from this approach. First, helicopters can cover vast expanses of land in a short amount of time. They are extremely useful for monitoring cattle across challenging terrains. This includes hills, forests, or wetlands. From the aerial perspective, American ranchers gain a comprehensive view of the tracking herd's condition and guiding them towards specific grazing zones. Helicopters equipped with GPS technology allow farmers to observe and anticipate potential issues. This also helps them to keep cattle from straying too far or preventing certain animals from wandering away from the herd. Additionally, the aerial view helps farmers identify any cattle showing unusual symptoms. Early detection can prevent disease spread within the herd and ensure a timely veterinary care for any sick animals. In areas with limited grazing land, farmers must rotate herds between different pastures, often using trucks as the primary method. They load cattle onto specially designed trucks to ensure safety and minimize stress during transit. Before each flight, farmers refuel and conduct thorough helicopter inspections. This is an important step to minimize risks when flying. The sound of the helicopter's engine cuts through the quiet of the plains. From above, the entire herd is visible, numbering in the thousands. They graze peacefully, scattered across valleys and hills. Some might argue that using helicopters in ranching is costly due to the substantial initial investment. However, with a one-time investment, ranchers can use helicopters for years, reducing labor costs and realizing long-term profits. Moreover, the ability to quickly and accurately manage cattle herds ensures healthier livestock. This leads to better quality meat and milk products, increasing farm profitability. During the grazing season, ranchers must round up cattle that have wandered across hundreds of acres, a major challenge. From above, pilots can easily spot the herds, but it's not that simple. They face animals that try to hide anywhere they can, ducking under trees or running along riverbanks. The lapse in the pilot's focus can be fatal. Numerous people have lost their lives in helicopter accidents. Another difficulty comes from harsh weather. Strong winds can make helicopter control more dangerous than ever. Sometimes helicopters must fly low to avoid winds, dense foliage, and rugged hills. The safety of the pilot is paramount, more important than catching cattle trying to escape. Farmers can return and gather them at another time. With skilled flying, the pilot must maneuver so that the cattle don't panic while moving in the right direction. The helicopter circles, gradually lowering and swooping close to the ground to herd cattle into designated areas. Ground crew in pickup trucks follow behind, gradually steering the cattle towards the gathering point. Helicopters have enabled farmers to carry out large-scale livestock operations with confidence. Cattle are spread across vast areas to fatten up for Asian beef export markets. Farmers also use helicopters to rescue cattle trapped in hard-to-reach areas like marshes, high mountains, or dense forests. In Switzerland, 12 cattle were airlifted down a mountain after being injured on an alpine pasture. Once lowered, staff checked their health conditions. These are short aerial rescue flights. Rescuers use nets to keep the animals safe during the ascent. The cattle hang suspended beneath the helicopter by a long cable. Countries like Australia and in some parts of the US are also using drone technology to manage cattle herds, especially in vast areas where traditional herding methods are time-consuming and less effective. Drones are programmed to fly at specific altitudes and speeds to guide cattle in a certain direction. After locating the herd, the drone approaches. The noise and movements of the drone startle the cattle, causing them to move away, making it easier for farmers to direct them towards grazing zones or enclosures. In addition to herding cattle, farmers also use drones to monitor crops. This method is applied to pastures and grain fields to ensure a year-round food supply for the livestock. Farmers can easily observe their fields from a comprehensive aerial perspective, allowing them to identify any crop issues, particularly during the growing season. Before pests damage the crops, drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and sensors can help farmers detect infestations. The real-time imaging and coverage provided by drones also allows farmers to inspect irrigation systems. Thermal sensors can reveal if fields are too wet or too dry, enabling them to adjust irrigation accordingly. This ensures optimal water supply. In California, drones are also used to protect farms and cattle from predators. This is by aiding in hunting activities. Before initiating a hunt, farmers can use drones to get an overview of their land or locate potential predators. Once the target position is identified, farmers can move into this area to hunt. This method makes hunting more efficient while increasing success.
When we think of Central Asia, we often picture vast grasslands where herds of cattle roam freely. However, behind these images lies a booming cattle industry, bringing both economic and cultural value to the region. The cattle farming and trading markets in Central Asia are dominated by countries such as Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, who are the major producers. These nations are developing specialized areas to optimize beef production, while also improving the quality of meat and dairy products. The people have maintained a nomadic herding system for thousands of years. Families still practice free-range herding, where cattle move seasonally across natural pastures. This method allows the cattle to graze on nutrient-rich land while taking advantage of nature with minimal labour costs. In addition, they raise strong local cattle breeds. These cattle are not only resilient to the arid climate, but also provide valuable meat and wool, offering good profits for herders. For farmers in the Kyrgyzstan Republic, cattle farming is a vital source of income. Over the past 20 years, the number of cattle in the country has increased by 60%. Although this growth has boosted the economy for many farmers, it has also contributed to the degradation of grasslands. The people of Central Asia are adopting modern livestock farming techniques. At many modern farms, farmers use sensor systems and software to monitor the health, weight, and productivity of each animal. This helps to optimize the farming process, minimizing disease risks and improving product quality. The shift from traditional herding to modern feedlot methods, combined with technology such as temperature-controlled barns and optimized nutrition, has brought significant economic benefits. Central Asia is not only known for its resilient native cattle breeds capable of withstanding harsh climates, but also for developing important hybrid breeds. These hybrid cattle offer higher meat yields and tender, nutrient-rich meat, meeting the growing demands of the international market. Beef from Central Asia is distinguished by its bright red colour and evenly distributed marbling, making it more appealing on dining tables in Russia and China. In Kyrgyzstan, the famous Karakol livestock market is one of the most active places for trading cattle. Here buyers can directly inspect the appearance and behaviour of the calves. They often check the coat, skin, teeth, and legs to assess the calves' health. Some buyers request that the calves be let outside to observe their movement and reactions. This helps them to evaluate whether the calves have any issues with their legs or nervous systems. Once a deal is reached, the exchange of cash takes place right at the market. The calves are then transported to the farm to begin their new journey. Calves need their mother's milk during the first few weeks of life to develop healthily. Farmers collect milk and feed the calves using specialized bottles or tubes. After a few weeks of milk feeding, the calves begin to transition to soft foods, such as hay and small grains. Farmers often prepare separate shelters for calves, especially during the first few days to protect them from the cold, as their immune systems are still weak. In the summer, when the grass grows abundantly, farmers harvest hay to store as feed for the cattle during winter. The hay is either cut manually or by machines and then left to dry for several days under the sun to retain its nutrients. Once the hay is dry, farmers collect and store it in large storage facilities or barns near the cattle shelters. This ensures they have enough feed for the cattle throughout the winter when natural pastures are no longer viable. As winter approaches and the weather becomes harsher, with temperatures dropping significantly, farmers bring their herds into shelters to protect them from the cold winds and snowstorms. These shelters are typically built with insulated walls to withstand the cold. The stored hay becomes the primary source of food for the cattle over winter, ensuring that they receive enough nutrition. Many farmers also supplement the hay with grains or additional feed, such as sugar beets and oats, to boost the cattle's immunity during the colder months. The grasslands of Central Asia span millions of hectares, providing a vast natural resource for cattle farming. These grasslands are mostly found in arid steppes or highland regions, where the harsh climate is well suited for cattle growth. Thanks to the climate's shift from warm in the spring to hot and dry in the summer, the grasslands regenerate and grow steadily. During the summer, the herds are moved to higher, cooler mountain pastures to escape the heat. In the winter, when temperatures drop, cattle are moved to lower pastures or shelters to protect them from the harsh cold. Hybrid cattle breeds can produce up to 18 litres of milk a day, in contrast to the 7 or 8 litres typically produced by local breeds. On small traditional farms, hand milking is still common. Farmers use metal buckets to collect the milk. On larger farms, milking machines are increasingly used, improving efficiency and ensuring hygiene. Freshly milked milk is usually filtered and stored in cool containers or large tanks. If refrigeration isn't available, the milk is typically used immediately to avoid spoilage. The milk may be left for a few hours to sour slightly, and then gently warmed to around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius to prepare for coagulation. To ensure a continuous and stable supply, dairy farms need to be located near populated areas and trading hubs. However, in more remote areas, farms specialise in beef rely on longer intermediary chains. Because beef does not need to be consumed immediately and can be stored in cold storage or exported, cattle farms in remote regions don't face significant challenges in supplying meat to large cities or exporting them to the neighbouring countries. The demand for antibiotic-free and growth hormone-free meat is rapidly growing. Organic livestock farms in Central Asia are capitalising on this trend to supply high-quality, environmentally friendly meat that aligns with international preferences. Once the cattle are fully grown and healthy, farmers sell them to slaughterhouses or larger livestock farms. Most of the beef is delivered to butcher stalls at local food markets, meeting the demand for fresh beef among the local population. Thanks to natural grazing and frequent movement, the beef has a firm muscle structure while remaining tender, making it suitable for various cooking methods. Additionally, large cattle markets in Central Asia are where locals and traders gather to buy and sell cattle in bulk, serving both domestic needs and export demands. Central Asia has become a major beef supplier for countries like Russia, China, and many other markets. Beef raised on natural pastures is highly valued for its quality, thanks to the natural grazing methods and grass-based nutrition. Central Asian countries not only raise indigenous cattle breeds, but also crossbreed them with high-yield varieties to increase productivity and meat quality. The process of raising, trading, and processing livestock in Central Asia reflects not only economic development, but also a harmonious blend of traditional and modern methods. New farming models and diverse processed products have helped Central Asia establish its role on the global meat export map.